for the third day of Christmas, I'm going to be taking a look at A Christmas Carol. So this is probably one of the most important, if you will, the most treasured, just one of the all-time Christmas classics. No, A Christmas Carol was originally written by Charles Dickens. These are two of the copies I have of it. These are though adapted for more kids. This one especially. This one not to the same extent, but the language is also more updated to modern day. I have a more original copy somewhere, but I can't find it. Most of my bookshelves are 2 stacks, so I think it's in one of the real stacks, so I wasn't able to find it. If I can find it, I'll attach the picture of it up here somewhere. But I want to because in the Christmas Carol, it's probably more than any other story, has hundreds of adaptations. And there are so many of them that this video is really going to be talking about all of them. And I do mean all of them. Okay, not all of them. I'm not that crazy. But, so, the book, read the book if you haven't done so already. And everyone, I think, should know the story. Ebenezer Scrooge is haunted by 3 ghosts, learns the meaning of Christmas. That's a good way of describing the plot. Tiny Tim, all that. So, one of my all-time favorite versions is A Muppet Christmas Carol. They actually quoted the book a fair amount. They took their own liberties, instead of Fezziwig, it's Fozziwig instead of Fozzie Bear. I mean, that is, I think, a great little thing that they did. And it is just great. There's some people who criticize some of the acting as humans, but it never bothered me. And it really just is this great story, this great adaptation of it. And I can't think of any other better adaptation, except maybe the stage adaptation at $7 City in Branson, Missouri. It's this great production. They actually do borrow music from a couple of places, including some other adaptations of A Christmas Carol. I think there's at least 2 different versions. 2 different versions that they are taking it from, different songs from, and they also had some songs from other sources as well, including Home Alone. Which Home Alone could have been taking that stuff from other ways, but they find Christmas music that works. Some of it's from Christmas Carol, some of it's been taken from other places. And being a company, they've gotten all the usage rights, I'm positive, for the songs. But it's really just a great production. It's nothing like, it's not like a TV or film production, but it's a great and worthy stage production. And it's been going on at $7 City longer than I've been alive. I turned 22 earlier this year, and, well, this is the first year that in my lifetime, that they are not doing A Christmas Carol. Thanks, COVID. Yeah, unfortunately, for health safety reasons, they are not doing any indoor shows, which includes their beloved A Dickens Christmas Carol. So that's just one version I've talked about. There's also $7 City's sister park, Dollywood, which used to be called $7 City, Tennessee, by the way, but it's now called Dollywood because Dolly Parton owns 75% of the park or something like that. Corporate stuff, I don't care too much about that stuff. But they have their own A Dollywood's Christmas Carol, something along that line. I've only seen it once, and it was years ago. I gotta say, by the way, they used $7 City's A Dickens Christmas Carol stills as their promo, for it. But I gotta say, it's okay, but the one at $7 City way better. I gotta say, unless you want Dolly Parton as one of the girls, then okay, they use some kind of technologies with holographic. It's the only thing I got to think. I think they do slightly better on is the set design, but I do kind of like the most I think part of the reason why I like $7 City's Dickens Christmas Carol a bit more, because their set design is more similar, I think, to a Muppet Christmas Carol. Simpler, more. You can clearly tell it's designed to be. Everything's designed for a set, not we want things as realistic as possible. It's what is the story needing, and that's what $7 City does, which I think is perfect. Dollywood, seems to go. They went to more elaborate, but I like kind of simpler stage productions. That is, that everything on stage helps tell the story, which I think is the perfect way of doing it. Though I've also seen some other stage adaptations. I actually saw one in the 5th grade. We actually read A Christmas Carol in that class. The only good thing about that class. All of us who took that class did not like our teacher. Yeah. But there again, my best friend's younger sister, she thought back then, I haven't talked to him in years, but she saw, my best friend's younger sister thought she was the best teacher ever. She must have changed. But then the class after her had the same complaints, so who knows? Just a luck, I guess? I don't know. But that's neither here nor there. And actually, the copies from that class, which we get to keep, is the copy I can't find. It's somewhere in my household. It might be on my mom's bookshelf for all I know. But so I got to see the stage production of A Christmas Carol there again. Very different. Even more simple than the one at City. It was actually in my town's theater, which dates back to the 1920s. Historic theater, excellent. At my college, I literally took classes in that theater's building because they rent out, basically office spaces to businesses and my college as well, which is just great. And I really do appreciate that. It's just fun and all that, but really getting back, it was an okay production. I think I saw it somewhere else that I can't remember. Maybe it was another field trip. But it was even more simple. And then another version gotta talk about is Mickey's A Christmas Carol, which I actually did kind of talk about a little bit in my video on Christmas Day. But there is another just good episode, or good version. Simple again, but it's just great. Of course, Mickey plays Bob Cratchit. Scrooge McDuck plays Ebenezer Scrooge. The character was named after, because Scrooge McDuck was named after Ebenezer Scrooge, as I understand it. Donald Duck plays Scrooge's nephew. Makes sense. I mean, I think they probably saw Daisy Duck and their minis playing, Mrs. Cratchit. It's like, they got, it works out so perfectly when you think about it. And it's just a heartwarming story and heartwarming adaptation of it. I really got to go watch it again because it is one, I would say it's up there with a Muppet Christmas Carol, or one of the best versions of A Christmas Carol. So, there's many more versions to talk about. There's black and white versions, colored versions, other stage versions. There's that CGI one that Disney put out, which I have now watched yet. I was going to watch it before recording this video, but I decided, no, I'm going to be talking about the versions I like. The versions I remember. The versions I came into this Christmas with watching previous Christmases. Not new versions to me. And there's another version, there's other good versions. There's one that opens up a bit more into Scrooge's childhood and his father specifically. There's one where he dresses up as Father Christmas to give presents to the Cratchits. There's just so many good versions. There's also many good, adaptations and riffs, if you will. And I'm talking about adaptations more than, we're just making our own version, but we're going to do something new with it. There's one I know there's like a couple set of America, some set in modern day business environment rather than Victorian London. I would say a lot of shows have done their own, Christmas Carol, the Doctor kind of has brought elements from it into it for their own Christmas episodes as well, which I think is quite interesting, but in a fun, unique way that you don't think Christmas Carol until you start looking at the bigger picture, which is great. Especially because Scrooge McDuck in the reboot Doctor series does not have the same character flaws that either Ebenezer Scrooge had, or the other versions of Scrooge McDuck had previously. So this video is dragging on, so I'm going to end it soon. But I would like to talk about just one more version of A Christmas Carol, and that being a Flintstones Christmas Carol. So yes, the Flintstones did their own version of A Christmas Carol, which is actually kind of fun because unlike probably many other adaptations I've seen, especially involving popular characters, it's this true plot. It's the characters are doing a play of A Christmas Carol. So we're literally watching the characters put on the show for other in-show characters, if you will. And then of course Fred has to go through his own character arc as well, that parallel Scrooges who he is playing. I mean, it is, and of course Barney is playing Bob Cratchit and all that. And it is just a great fun little thing. And I really enjoyed I don't know what other people think of it, but I really did enjoy this idea of the characters are doing this production of A Christmas Carol in their own way, and they are, while they're doing it, they're going on their own character journey because of the story that they are telling that improves their own character, which is just a unique way of telling the story. And like I say, it's probably of the non-standard adaptations, and I consider both, all the previous versions I really talked about, except for the DuckTales one, which is not really an adaptation, more of influence and inspiration. But of all the adaptations, Flintstones Christmas Carol is probably the most creative of the bunch. And that's why I do like it. Not as much as I think the other ones, but I really find it's special because it is unique. Because they do something different and especially when we're doing adaptations with existing characters. Like some people have wondered how on the Muppet Show they would have done A Christmas Carol. Probably more similar to how the Flintstones did it than how the Muppets actually did it. But I don't think I could have imagined the Muppets doing it any other way than how they did it. And I want them to do another movie along that same line, and that in Treasure Island. But there's other adaptations of A Christmas Carol. Scooby-Doo even tackles it to a certain degree, and it is that, and more of, somebody is masquerading as the ghost of those ghosts. So they've done it twice. There's the new one, I think it's either Guess Who or Be Cool Scooby-Doo, I don't remember which. But I really don't I think clips of it, I've never watched it in full, but from what I've understand, I don't like the premise of it really. But how the other mentions of it I really do like, from the other holiday and Christmas specials and episodes of Scooby-Doo where, they're either making reference to A Christmas Carol or they're maybe doing a performance themselves. Those generally, I kind of like those better. Or maybe somebody, from, being inspired by the story to, dress up as like the Ghost of Christmas Past or something, which actually does happen in one of them. So that's just kind of my generic thoughts on those. The closest one I've never really seen to, the closest Scooby-Doo adaptations I've never really seen, so I can't really comment on it for A Christmas Carol. But the other ones, yes, I can truly comment on and say, I also, more than anything, even if they don't do adaptations, references can be kind of neat. Even Star Trek gets in on it. In Star Trek Voyager, they make a couple Christmas Carol references, I think. And Next Generation gets one where Data's reenacting a scene from it. But that's not really what I wanted to focus on in this review. I just really want to talk about A Christmas Carol and the many adaptations I enjoy and the references that are thrown in other media. Really, A Christmas Carol is a staple of the holidays of Christmas. And in some ways, we can thank A Christmas Carol for many of our Christmas traditions. But that's all I have for you today. So let me know in the comment down below. What's your favorite adaptation or a version of A Christmas Carol? I would love to hear from you. Also, if you haven't liked or rated the video yet, please consider doing so. And feel free to check out any of the links below. We got my Facebook, my Twitter, Discord server if you'd like to join, website, all that is down below. So go check that stuff out if you are so interested. And also, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet or given it a follow, please consider doing so. It will help you to stay up to date on all that I do if you are so interested, of course. And as always, consider checking out the video of the playlist on screen now. And as always, have a good day, a good night, wherever you are. A Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.